Well, hey everyone, how's it going? So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to remove your HUD Control Switch from your center console in an '08 Grand Prix GXP. Now this applies to all of the '04 to '08 Pontiac Grand Prix that have the HUD option. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set your parking brake. So in order to get the center console out, you're going to need to move this trim piece out of the way, as well as this storage compartment. It's really easy to do. Just reach up underneath the storage compartment here, and then pull towards you, okay? In this corner, put your thumb over your keyhole cover, pull out some more, okay? Now that'll release this, and it also may release this at the same time. And then you just kind of go around like that, pulling towards you, and then you don't even need to disconnect any of the harnesses that are back there. All you have to do is set it aside just like that. It'll stay exactly where it's at, of course, depending on if you have an aftermarket radio or not. And then you'll notice that there are Phillips head screws right here. The way this is set up is if you say you want to get rid of the radio, you have to take this and this out. Fortunately, all we need to do is get rid of this storage compartment that's at the bottom. So you have two Phillips head screws that are here on the left and the right. Remove those, and this compartment should come right out. Okay, with the two screws out, we can go ahead and get rid of this compartment, but first we have to go ahead and bring our shifter lever all the way back. Make sure your parking brake is set. Key the ignition to on. You can bring it all the way back, whether it be one or manual tap shift or whatever. And once that's back, then you can go ahead and just pull out the storage compartment and set it aside, and that allows us all this extra room in here to be able to get this console out. Okay, so on the back side of your shifter lever, you'll notice that there is a Phillips head screw that is right here in the center, okay? You're going to want to go ahead and remove that. Now be extra careful not to strip this screw, otherwise you will not be able to get your shifter lever off. So with the screw removed, we can go ahead and just take the shifter lever and just pull it right out, just like that. It just kind of slides out. It'll give us some extra room to be able to wiggle this around so that we can get it out. Okay, so we are looking underneath the driver's seat, and I have the seat all the way back as far as it'll go, and that gives us access to this bolt right here. There's 4 of these in total. There's one in front of the driver's seat, in front of the passenger seat on the opposite side, as well as you have 2 more that are back here. Now, in order to get to the 2 at the rear, you move the seats forward as far as you can go, and you can get access to those. These are 10 millimeter, and that's all that's holding the console to the floor. And now it's just as simple as lifting it out. What I usually do is I start in the front here and just lift up. You'll feel it release. The back may be a little bit tighter because of the seats being right here. The seats are going to rub up against the center console, but just give it a good tug and it should come right out just like that, okay? Now, one thing to note, there is a harness that is right up underneath here, okay? You can see it right here. Okay, it's really easy to disconnect. There is a indentation tab that's right here. Just push down on it or squeeze it, and that will release the harness. And then your console is free to be removed from the vehicle. Okay, so I would like to note that if you're not planning on removing your floor shifter, then it's a good opportunity to clean it. You can see right here in these spots where pop and so on has actually spilled. This is impossible to get to unless you actually take your center console, the floor console, out. And it gets really dirty. Food gets caught up in here if you're eating in your car and so on like that. It's just a real mess. So this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and clean all of this out while you have the floor console out, as well as cleaning, vacuuming in between the seats, because this is also an area that food will drop and so on that's really difficult to get to with the floor console in the way. Okay, so once you have the center console out, this is what it looks like. This is what the HUD switch actually looks like from underneath here. So we're going to go ahead and get this out. The first thing that we need to do is we need to disconnect the wire harness that runs to it. On the bottom down here, there's a tab. This tab is opposite of the floor shifter opening, and basically you just squeeze it. You just give it a squeeze from this way to push that tab in, and then it'll release that. So you can see how it works. You just basically push down on that tab, you squeeze it. Now if you'll notice, underneath here, there's actually two tabs that hold this thing in. They have to be squeezed together, very gently squeezed inward, basically, okay? So once you take this, you can actually use your fingers. You squeeze down, and then you can see that it's already started to push out. Once you do that, the rest of it should come out, but if you're unsure, on directly the opposite side, underneath here, there's another one. And you can actually push on this one as well. Now I'm going to be using a flathead screwdriver for this, just because my fingers can't reach up in there. But basically, you just kind of push on it a little bit, and it should pop right out. So here it is. This is the actual HUD switch. You can see mine needs to be cleaned really bad. All it takes is one pop to spill from the cup holders or leak or whatever, and this thing gets all sorts of messed up. Now, I already replaced the LED, or excuse me, the incandescent bulb that is on the inside of this that lights this up red. I've already replaced mine with a red LED. I have another video on that, and I will go ahead and link that in the description right now, so check that out if you're interested. But this does actually come apart. In that video, I show you how to bring this apart, and that will allow you to clean this really well and replace the LED, or excuse me, the incandescent, if you so choose. Okay, so getting your HUD switch, or HUD control switch, back in is actually fairly easy to do. There's only one way that this will actually go in, okay? You'll see there's a little notch right here on the this one side here of the HUD switch, okay? And that lines up with that little notch right there. So there's only one way that you can actually put this in. So don't worry about trying to get it all perfectly lined up so that it works for you. Basically, you just take it from the upper side and you slide it in. Again, it can only go in one way. Push it in all the way, click, and then you're done. So now it's in there snug, it's not going anywhere. Then just take your wire harness and plug it in. Again, this can only go in one way as well. If it looks like it's not going to go in, just flip it, and just like that. So now the HUD switch is back in, and we can go ahead and get the center console reinstalled. Okay, so we're back in the car again. We've got the center console cleaned up, and the easiest way to put this back in, you don't even have to put it in drive if you don't want to, or all the way back. The easiest way to put this back in is to bring it in through the rear seats, okay? And you want to bring it down just a little bit. And if you lift up on it, you can actually bring it past the shifter knob, alright? Now, before you set it in, you want to get your harness here hooked up, okay? So first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to find the harness. We're going to go ahead and reconnect the harness and make sure it's down here in the middle, out of the way so nobody sees it. And then again, just lift up, slide it in. It goes in actually fairly easy, okay? Now again, there's retainers underneath here that lock it into place. You just basically push down until you feel it lock in, okay? Okay, so now that we have the center console in place, we can go ahead and get our compartment back in place. Just set it in and line it up with the two tabs that are on the top. Get your two Phillips head screws. And to get our shift lever back in, real easy to do. Just basically slide it down. You'll feel it lock in place, and then it won't be allowed to turn. Okay. Then you get your your small screw that goes in the back. Be careful not to lose this thing, which yes, I have done before. Let's reach in there, and again, it's the opposite of what you would think because you're looking at it from an opposite direction. And just tighten it down. Again, doing it with the console in place and the shifter not all the way back, you're going to need a small Phillips head, a short Phillips head screwdriver to be able to do that. Otherwise, you got to bring your shift lever all the way back. So now we can go ahead and get the radio trim piece back in place. Just snap it in, real easy to do. And then your ignition key cover, snap that back into place. It can only go in one way. Alrighty, so all 4 of my bolts are now back in, and we have completed this project. The center console was removed, it was cleaned thoroughly, and now it's back in. So we are done. If you have any questions, of course, you can let me know, and take care.